Hello, Namaste. I welcome you all to the 94th session of Gurubodha. I welcome you all to this session, and on behalf of all of us students, I cordially welcome Dr. Gururaja sir to this session. I cordially welcome Dr. Raghuram sir also to this session. Good evening and namaste sir. This session is brought to you by easyayurveda.com. I dedicate this and all of my works to the holy feet of Dr. Chandrasekhar Udupa. This class is made live exclusively available to Easy Ayurveda weekly class subscribers. Weekly class subscribers not only get this Gurubodha session, they also get Gurukula session and also the Saturday sessions. Also, that is 3 hours a week. If you are interested, please go to easyayurveda.com/video-classes. Dr. Gururaja sir runs Development Care Ayurveda Center in Shumaga. To get guidance from him for on case-to-case basis or for consultation as well, please go to easyayurveda.com/Gururaja. Dr. Raghuram sir is Chief Content Officer at easyayurveda.com. To consult him for case-to-case basis or for patient guidance, please go to easyayurveda.com/Raghuram. So, Shravana Masa Shukla Paksha Panchami, in which we also celebrate the festival of Naga Panchami, the Vasuki god that we bow down to and do puja of. That also happens to be the Jayanti or birthday of Acharya Charaka. So, no Acharya Charaka, no Ayurveda, so very important. First, let me go to Gururaja sir. Guru sir, what does Charaka mean to you, and in terms of science of Ayurveda and your practice, everything?
Regarding Acharya Charaka, he is ultimate to me even in practice because the work and the contribution to Ayurveda by Acharya Charaka is immense, and we are not a people to judge them or analyze them. No, we are not of that caliber. Whatever their contribution to Ayurveda is totally immense, and it is unbelievable and beyond our imaginations. Whatever they have said here, many times while reading the Charaka, I come to know that everywhere Acharya Charaka has just given what should be done, how it should be done. But do you think that it has been just as a statement made? No. Before that, they analyzed those concepts and those evidences as well as the incidences, and very elaborately they understood. They might have also done some errors and all those things. Then ultimately, what as a gist, they got it as a cream of that total protocol. Then they have given only that for us. He never given something like which is if you do like this, it is going to that way, this way. No, he is very clearly guiding each and every way that you need to do this one in this condition. This should not be done because it's going to cause you harm. So very clearly, path has been laid down how we need to practice or how we need to give our services to the suffering human personality. So all these things very clearly laid down, and just imagine when there was no such present day gadgets like that, Acharyas have observed so many micro as well as so many macro events inside the body, even outside the body, even the atmosphere, so many varieties of plants and their maturation time, what is the Rasaguna Virya Vipaka, how they behave in that, in which condition they can be used, and what are the Ahara, what is the Vihara, Vichara, everything. It's immense. You cannot see just simply by saying some words or some phrases or sentences, you cannot describe Acharya Charaka. Acharya Charaka is a totality in it himself, and he is a master in Kaya Chikitsa and related activities and aspects of Ayurveda, and definitely every day, just like Deva Dhanvantri, whom we remember and we bow down every day. Similarly, Acharya Charaka is also Pracha Smaraniya, something like that. So we cannot simply take his name or associate with so lightly, because he is an authoritative person in Ayurveda, and his contribution is totally takes somebody's lifetime to achieve it. And of course, in our lifetime also, we cannot even totally understand what Acharya Charaka has meant in his treatise. Such a vast information being fed to us with such a beautiful narration, and it is something like that data of so many gigabytes given cost us, and we are using them. And we should go to Acharya Charaka for their immense contribution, and definitely they have made impact in our lives also. And he being in a role model, how one has to do practice, everything, what not else. That's why Acharya said in the last chapter, he has collectively written this based on the Shilon Chivrutti. Just by picking the good things from everywhere, he has accumulated and he has kept there. And very clearly, he claims that whatever is available outside, everything is available here. And something which is not available here, you don't find anywhere. Such a beautiful comment given by Acharya, and definitely we should all remember day in and day out Acharya Charaka.
Very well said, sir. Probably one of the greatest tributes to Acharya Charaka ji. Now, let me call in Dr. Raghuram, sir. Charaketu Chikisita, it's explained. There is no one beyond Acharya Charaka for the treatment, especially for Kaya Chikitsa. When we were doing post-graduation, I had not seen Raghuram, sir, without Charaka in his hand. And we usually study Charaka Samhita as part of our curriculum. Then we go and study a little bit of Chakrapani for understanding the Chakrapani Sanskritika, where we feel concepts are a little bit complex. But Raghuram sir was also referring to a lot of other commentaries. I think Jeta he was also referring. So Raghuram sir, what does Charaka mean to you?
Charaka definitely is a word of emotion for me already. So he is everything for us in Ayurveda. So many people who are not even related to Ayurveda also have read Charaka Samhita, try to explore Charaka Samhita, and the curiosity is there to know what is there in Charaka and what we can go in between the lines and understand. Such, for me, as Dr. Hebbar sir has rightly said, it's always been an emotion. Just like at the beginning I said, easy Ayurveda, maybe Gurubodha, Gurukula, Dr. Hebbar sir and Gururaja sir, all our emotions so related to what work we have been collectively doing, and Charaka pops up regularly in our activities because we are in the academics and also the practice, be it writing the articles for easy Ayurveda. Acharya Charaka's reference comes. So this has become a daily regimen, like Dinacharya, Rutucharya, everything, everywhere. Charaka is like Wi-Fi surrounding us. So without Charaka, we can't even imagine our lives, especially in Ayurveda. So that's been an emotion, as Hebbar sir rightly said. But Charaka for me is utmost devotion, utmost respect, reverence, and also an emotion. So even just now I've been reading. The only thing is I've been reading our easy Ayurveda Charaka Samhita. So for all of you again, so this is everybody knows easy Ayurveda Charaka Samhita has also come in 4 volumes, comprehensively covering easy language that we always do. Thanks to Hebbar sir again for getting those books out for the Ayurveda enthusiasts and also Ayurveda students, teachers, everybody. So I've been reading that right now. One of my gurus was telling, if we pick a shloka from Charaka Samhita and distribute it to everybody in the world and ask them to submit its meaning after 24 hours, we will get so many million different replies, answers. So like a single question related to Charaka Samhita from any chapter. So if it is distributed to many people, maybe Ayurveda scholars itself, we will filter out that group in the world and ask them to give meaning to that particular shloka in their own way. We will get so many million meanings. That is the beauty of Charaka Samhita, one of our guru used to tell. So like Charaka Samhita, each and every verse, it gives a magnification of thoughts and thought processes within us, which enables us to think in various perspectives. Though the shloka may be the same, my interpretation, Hebbar sir's interpretation, Gururaja sir's interpretation of the same will carry a different message, will carry a different thought process. Though the soul is the same, so when we try to convey it, we convey it with different emotions and different thought processes. That is the beauty of Charaka. So many times, even I have experienced while reading the Charaka Samhita, even it is one of the best things I carry in my luggage. Whenever I travel, I am a voracious reader. I read many things other than Ayurveda also. One of the books which I carry will be Charaka Samhita always. I even realized after one of my gurus said, how reading the same shloka after 1 month or after 1 year gives a different ideology totally. So this is also in sync with the maturity as we grow up, as I grew up from my student phase to the teacher's phase and then coming to easy Ayurveda here and enjoying every bit of Ayurveda work. I've realized that the transformation of knowledge or the transition of the knowledge from the student life to till today has been quite different. The same slokas I had understood long back. Now when I sit to read them, so I understand it with a more mature level. So the more and more you read Charaka, the more and more you understand it in a better way, in a different way, with a different interpretation. And that knowledge definitely will be translated into the clinical knowledge. I also dedicate this particular episode and tomorrow's Charaka Jayanti to one of the persons who was known as a walking Charaka. So like Charaka on the fingertips, our Honorable Vidya S.N. Oja sir. So once he had mentioned me on a phone call. So I think that was the last phone call before we lost that person. So that gem of a person of Ayurveda. So he said, one day I want to come to Bangalore, sit with you, read Charaka Samhita with you, and rewrite Charaka Samhita in the easiest possible way. So where it reaches people in the easiest way and it shouldn't be difficult. We know that Charaka Samhita has 120 chapters and it's not very easy to understand. Because, as I said, every reading gives a different experience of reading the Charaka Samhita or understanding the Charaka Samhita. He said, we will make it in a simplified way. So that dream of S.N. Oja sir, I think, has been left over. So as as a point of ignition somewhere, even in my soul. And if we collectively from Easy Ayurveda, we already have Charaka Samhita. If we can bring the simplest form of, that is also my dream and Hebbar sir's dream, Gururaja sir's dream also, and all gurus associated with Easy Ayurveda, to bring the simplest and easiest forms of Samhitas so that everybody will be, the future generations will be benefited reading those Samhitas, understanding them in the simplest possible way. And Oja sir also had a dream of making Charaka as a clinical oriented translation. So if we bring translation and transliterations in future, we will make it clinical friendly. So friends, when you see many of the formulations which are available in the market, so the medicines from different pharmacies, the reference will be given from where the formulation has been prepared. We don't see Charaka Samhita reference on many of the bottles or the packs of the medicines. Why? So this is a point for yet another day for to discuss. But Charaka, as Gururaja sir also said in the intro, and Hebbar sir also said, without Charaka there is nothing. Charaka was the basic foundation for many other Samhitas to come up. We can see that Guru Shishya Parampara introduced in Charaka Samhita, the discussions between the Gurus and Shishyas, different concepts and arguments and also difference of opinions, summing up to the common conclusion. The Guru will give a common conclusion. So such is a beauty of Charaka Samhita. So if we can make that easier and easier and easier for the next generation, it is not only our task, but also the task future generation. They should join hands in making Charaka Samhita, not only Charaka, Sushruta, Vag, but everything if they're made in the simplest possible way to understand, and if they are brought into the practice, that will be ultimate tribute to Charaka Samhita. S.N. Oja sir's vision was that let us make Charaka Samhita a practice oriented. Ask him anything about any topic or any complicated condition. He was also doing his ultimate research in cardiac medicine at the time of his demise. That is also left over for Ayurveda. His immense knowledge of cardiology, and so he has resigned an important job as a principal of an institution and has joined a research team. In fact, he has made his own research team to make medicines for heart conditions, different heart conditions. That work was also his Shishya Parampara is continuing that, but his vision was that. And basic references were taken from Charaka Samhita. Wherever our thought processes did not expand, Oja sir's thoughts used to expand at that particular point. And he used to tell me, Raghuram, we have to do much more for Charaka. So our Charaka has contributed a lot, and our contribution towards Charaka should also be immense. So even before I breathe last, that is my vision, he has said. So let us keep this dream of Oja sir as the point of ignition. So without that flame coming off, let us all put our efforts to give a different dimension. As Gururaja sir rightly pointed at the beginning of his talk, that we are nothing, or we are no one to talk about masters like Charaka, Sushruta, Vagbhata. Their contribution is immense, and that is considered as apta. What we can try is, if we can give the different versions, simplified versions of the same to the further generation. It is not spoon feeding, it is making the things understandable. So students should not feel that I should read Charaka Samhita for examination purpose, by heart the shlokas, go and write there in the examination and get good marks in Charaka Samhita or Kaya Chikitsa. No. The main vision should be how we shall bring Charaka Samhita principles, not only medicines, the principles are abundant, oceanic proportions, the principles in Charaka Samhita. So those principles, if they are brought into clinical practice, I think it will be the best way. Even when I am looking at a patient or towards a student while discussing a particular topic, my vision will be towards Charaka. It is not disrespecting Sushruta or Vagbhata or any other teachers of Ayurveda. But Charaka's contribution is so much immense that various threads have developed from Charaka Samhita, leading to the many Samhitas. I can talk the whole day, but I would like to take an emotional break from the word Charaka and also Charaka Samhita, so that we get equal opportunity of discussing more and more about Charaka. Thank you, Heber sir, for giving me this small time to speak about Charaka. So this was not an introduction of Charaka. This was my feel, how I always felt connected to Charaka from many yugas. So that is what I always felt. So that's a very sweet emotion for me, as long as, just like Ayurveda. So Charaka itself is, the word Charaka itself is, one more thing I just wanted to conclude before my talk on Charaka. So Charaka basically means to wander. The word chara in Charaka is to wander, to roam around, and to go to various places. It is also believed that the person got a name Charaka because, going to the history of Charaka, there are different theories. The time period of Charaka is also variable. So we get an idea that the person used to wander to many places in search of knowledge. So this is what he teaches us. Today's Google is that day's Charaka. So Google is a search engine. Go and type anything. So artificial intelligence already shows what you want to search on the search engine. So that is Charaka. Everything, Gururaja sir rightly said, what you find in Charaka, you will not find it anywhere. So like whatever is there in Charaka, that is the limit. So it's not all of egoism. So on the part of Charaka, it was not a statement of egoism. He wanted to tell that this is a summary. So Charaka Samhita is also not Charaka's own. It is an Agnivesha Samhita which has been redacted into Charaka Samhita. So it is the work of so many scholars, the Acharya Sampradaya, coming together, and slowly the things have been summed up and edited and re-edited and redacted, and finally came into the book what we are reading. That person, Charaka, whoever it was, he wandered. So that gives us a basic idea, wander. So be a wanderer in search of knowledge. Not only Google, go to different gurus. Okay. Yesterday, when Heber sir posted in Easy Ayurveda group that we are starting Ayurveda Hospital, I saw the responses, very good responses from good souls. We are very eager to come to out of India. We are eager to come to India, to the hospital and learn. That is wandering. Okay, so that is going in search of knowledge. Knowledge will never come in search of us. We need to go in search of the knowledge. Be it Easy Ayurveda Hospital or Charaka Samhita or whatever it is there. Coming there and learning at the place where we can tap the knowledge is the best way to learn anything. And I was really happy seeing so much of responses, wishes and blessings for Easy Ayurveda, our Easy Ayurveda Hospital, which is about to come in October. So that is again a fantastic news, and all credits, and also what I can tell again, Heber sir, for even visualizing that particular thought and magnifying it into a reality which will come in front of our eyes on 22nd October. So this is not an advertisement of the hospital. The concept was the learning. So it's not only hospital, it is also an institution which we are making for people to come and learn, providing internship for students from within India and outside India. So that will be a learning process, practice and learning blending together. So maybe the first of its kind, many varieties of learning sources will be found in the Easy Ayurveda Hospital at Mangaluru. So that is one thing. So Charaka was a wanderer and he learned. I always tell my students, Charaka, Sushruta and Vagbata are the trilogy, like the chronology which has been mentioned always in the Brihat Treyi, the greater trio. Charaka, wander and learn. Sushruta, hear and learn, have patience hearing. Vagbata, and only after wandering and listening properly, carefully, with focus, you will get the authority to speak. Vagbata, walk. You will get the authority to speak, authority to teach, and authority to preach Ayurveda. So my big salutes not only to Charaka but also to the Brihat Treyi, Laghu Treyi, and all the Acharyas of Ayurveda. So including our Gururaja sir, the Acharya of Gurubodha, and Heber sir, the visionary of Easy Ayurveda. Salutes to all the other teachers here. Namaste. Over to you, Heber sir.
Thank you there for a detailed elaboration, sir. And speaking of this wandering, I've seen like many Ayurveda students who have succeeded clinically. It could be, say, Joseph that we know, who has done our Marma course with us. He has been to Coimbatore and he will go practically wherever there is source of knowledge, he'll go and learn. And then there is a famous guy called as Dr. Rajesh Bayeri, he's our junior. He also practically goes wherever there is knowledge, he will go and learn. And in our ECR, the family itself, there are many foreigners who on Saturdays, they work through the 5 days with their software or banking or any other their work that they're doing. And on Saturdays, they will take the car and drive for 4 hours, 5 hours, go to the Ayurveda school or college and spend Saturdays and Sundays there learning and come back by Sunday night. And then they again go back to their routine work. Just the passion for Ayurveda and doing anything and going everywhere for the sake of learning is probably the reason why Ayurveda is thriving. And one note for this BMS students in India is that whenever I deliver a lecture, I mean, this has been told many times, whenever we deliver a lecture on anything, the number of questions that come from the students group is almost always zero. So they just students just take what we speak and that's it. But if you tell the same thing to an eager non-Ayurvedic person, that person may be from within India or outside India, doesn't matter. So non-Ayurvedic person, he will have like 1,000 questions, like how it is and how to practically apply it and this and that. So many different questions. Probably that keenness and all we have to cultivate. And as days progress, Ayurveda is not just the intellectual property of the Ayurveda student community of India. It is spreading to non-Ayurvedic people also, and many books, many resources are there for any common people to learn. Remember, even the olden days also, Ayurveda was just not limited to a medical science. There was tradition and practice of chanting Ashtanga shlokas. Even probably before that, Charaka and Sushrutas also, I am very sure that these shlokas were chanted every day in the household. Even today, in many households, Ashtanga shlokas are chanted every day as part of the puja and the religious bhajans and so on and so forth. So one of the very important shlokas that I found out, and Gururaja sir has mentioned many a times, he is probably the most important of all the shlokas for Ayurveda students world over. This is from Charaka Samhita, 20th chapter. So this shloka says, Rogamado pariksheta tato anantaram aushadam ततः कर्म भिषक पश्चात ज्ञान पूर्वम समाचरेत यस्तु रोगम अविज्ञाय कर्माण्यारभते भिषक अप्यौषध विधानज्ञस्तस्य सिद्धिर यदृच्छया यस्तु रोग विशेषज्ञ सर्ववैषज्य कोविदः देशकाल प्रमाणज्ञस्तस्य सिद्धिर असंशयम्. In the rush of knowing all the medicines and I know all the medicines, so I can treat any disease, is one of the fallacies of Ayurveda that many students or even Ayurveda doctors and practitioners fall into early in their career. Guru sir, Acharya Charaka clearly mentioned that is not the way. Can you please elaborate this Charaka's beautiful shloka for us?
See, it's a very important one, and that's why I said particularly the first line, Rogamado Parikshetam Tatonantaram Aushadam. That is very, very genuine way of approach to any condition. But many times what we have observed is, so they straight away ask, what is the medicine you have used? The condition is in front of me may not be the same with in front of you. Your patient may be having a different set of presentation that we need to understand. Many times we need to have the data from the history. So first, Rogamado Parikshita. First we need to understand his basic concept like his Prakriti, is Vikriti Lakshana, Dosha, Dushya, and what may be the possible causes, then all related to such things like Darshanas, Parshanas, Prashnecha, Parikshecha, Roginam, all these aspects. Once everything is established, then only we can come to a conclusion that this is a disease. Then comes what should be done. For that, we need to once again understand how first thing has to be tackled first. For everything, usually typical concepts are there. Vata is the one which is Yogavahi in nature, which with Kapha can create diseases, with Pitta can create diseases by enhancing their activities. That is very typically a nature of Vata. So that we need to understand and we need to stabilize the Vata for a time being in any of the diseases. Many times it is said, first control the Vata, then other things to be approached. So all these concepts to be taken in care. Once we read all these things from the concepts, the other part is understanding a disease in a given set of timing and given set of a condition. Once it is established, then according to the breaking down of these things, through the principles, we need to approach to a condition where after that we can take the help of present day, all the parameters of even including the laboratory help as well as imaging techniques. There is no harm because Charaka has very clearly said, let the things come from every direction, let it be thing, and whatever I have said here in a Sukshma Riti, the same thing is available outside in maybe much elaborated, maybe sometimes even the small in a subtle way. So all these things needs to be understood first. Then comes the which is the best drug to be used in this condition, or which is the best yoga to be used. Which one should be given first? How to improve the? Many times I have observed that when a patient is there, straight away they'll go for Sir Shodhana, Shodhana, we will do Shodhana. We need to understand why Shodhana has to be done in every case. First thing you try to establish there is a Bahudosha Avastha. Once there is a Bahudosha Avastha, then only you go for the proper Shodhana. And now we have got in such a way that with the compromised principles many a times, entire Shodhana process in a what way it has to go, it has been shortened. 3-day Shodhana, 5-day Shodhana, like that they have shortened it. And that hurrying of or shortening of the Shodhana is not going to yield the desired results. The people are that we don't want to take the Kashaya, we don't want to take the Taila, we don't want to apply this one, but we should want to have a best result out of that. So this is what the mentality of the patient as well as the doctors, either the doctors. First, we need to stick on to the principles. This is the relevant principle in this condition. This has to be done in the same way. There is no compromising. Then definitely you will get the results. After all these things, trying to break up the samprapti, then use appropriate combinations and the drugs accordingly, improve the Agni, establish the Dosha Samhita, improve the Bala, then later on add on the Rasayanas. So like this is the better way of handling the condition. These to be done in this fashion. And if it is followed in this fashion by considering the Desha, Kala, Agni, Vaya, and therefore symptoms, straight away jumping into a conclusion and a diagnosis and putting some medicine for that. For many may not be having sufficient time to do all those things. Patient in hurry and you also in hurry. Next patient, there are OPD is crowded. So that things also there. In that, by out of practice and experience, a doctor, a very qualified doctor may pick up the can be initiated for a time being or a temporary manner for 3 days or 5 days, and by the time you can have the timing, go for the detailed analysis of the case and go with the full-fledged your protocol of treatment. This can also be done. But thing is, it has to be go in a direction that Roma. The first thing is to establish the Roga or disease. Once you understand the disease well, then you can try to bring out the concepts as well as drugs, how to break up the samprapi.
Very well explained, sir. I must admit, I also sometimes coming from Vaishya Kalpana background, I just think as soon as I hear patient complaining about the symptoms, I just think about medicines first. Then I just restrain myself and think about the samprapti a little more deeply and all. So interestingly, in that he says that in the second shloka, let me bring Raghuram sir here. Yastu rogam avijnaya karmani arabhate bishak api aushadam vidhanajya tasya siddhir yadrichaya. Yadricha means like by chance or by luck. Raghuram sir, please.
Absolutely, sir. Gururaja sir rightly summed up the first portion of the shloka. So this continues like that. Diagnosis is very important, first of all, to find out what exactly the person is suffering. So I like what disclaimer we give in Easy Ayurveda. So for even online consultation. So like this is not the best way to consult a doctor. So this may be the second best way. So because you are not able to meet the doctor in person, so that is why the online consultation, email consultations to help the patient or a suffering person to an extent. So we may not be able to diagnose thoroughly or to the perfect point as we want it to be done while doing the online consultation. We cannot give 100% justice to, so because Ashtasthana Pariksha, be it Nadi, Malamutra, so everything, Shabda Sparsha, Drupa, Kruti, so many aspects have been mentioned. So there is Roga Pariksha and Rogi Pariksha. When we go to the examination, it's of two kinds. Like first one will be the examination of the disease itself. So that comes under the diagnosis. After that, examination of the patient. So the subject. So after comprehensively understanding the disease through the Nidana Panchaka, Nidana Pragrupa, Rupa, Upashaya and Samprapti, and then conducting a thorough examination on the patient, be it Trivida. So many types of even Dashavida Pariksha, so many types of Parikshas have been mentioned in Ayurveda. So at that particular point of time, whether we are seeing the patient in OPD or IP, at what level we are seeing the patient, depending on that. So what is our practice, so what is to what we have been trained to or do very often, we can adapt similar methodologies, but ultimately what is important is to at least come to a possible diagnosis, and after that only the treatment protocol can be planned. So that is very important. If the treatment, so on the contrary, let's say if the disease is not diagnosed, it is just like shooting an arrow in the dark. It may hit Edrucha, as Hebasar rightly mentioned. You may get success once, twice, thrice, four times by chance, and if you are lucky enough, so lucky physicians, what we can call it as. So, see, we have Samana Siddhanta and also Vishesha Siddhanta. We've been speaking about this in Ayurveda very often. Samana Siddhanta is a preconception that whichever patient, the Prameha patient comes, I will treat with this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 medicines I have in my rack, and I will pick one among them and give, or 2, 3 combinations, and I will give to all the patient. It may not work. It may work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, 6th time, 7th time, 8th time, it may fail. Why? Because here we have failed to understand the story of the disease. Very important is the story of the disease. The disease wants to tell some story. We need to know right from the point of initiation to the development and to the conclusion of the disease. Just like we watch a movie, we are satisfied only after watching it from the first scene to the climax, to the end, and also the progression in between. So just like that, samprapti of a disease or the pathogenesis of a disease is a story of a disease which the disease wants to tell through the patient. The patient will tell, I'm having this, this, and this, all the complaints right from the beginning. As a physician, you need to sit with the patient. Very important. Dedicate your time, space, and also the total focus towards the patient. Thorough history taking is always the key for success of clinical diagnosis. Any simple clue missed out may be a very important medicine formulation or a therapy missed out. So we don't want to do that in our clinical practice. So the best approach will be spend time and understand the story of the disease. Understand the story of the patient. Okay, so the patient is the victim here. Understand the story, take it thorough. So through the story itself, we will understand how did it start, when did it start, all those conditions. Like a person can present with a headache or some cardiac condition, heart condition, or a respiratory condition. Many of the times we have seen if we directly give one shot treatment, like the person is feeling breathless or short of breath, the first ideology which goes there is Shwasa, so difficulty in breathing. So we will be in a compulsion to pick some formulations which are mentioned in the Shwasa Prakarana. So that is the treatment of short of breath or breathlessness or dyspnea or many respiratory conditions have been explained in Shwasa. So we are often tempted to take the medicines from there and give it to the patient. That saves time much. So if X is equal to Y, Y is equal to Z, X is equal to Z, simple mathematics we try to apply. Many times this mathematics doesn't work. Many medicines given, many therapies given will not work. Why? Because the Shwasa, the difficulty in breathing may be due to a lung condition, may be due to a heart condition, may be due to anemia, may be due to a liver condition, may be due to severe stress, may be due to some abdominal condition, dehydration, anything. Until and unless we know the culprit which is causing that particular incident, it will be only a guesswork. So anything done on the guesswork, this shloka what Hebasar pointed out, will tell if you are not diagnosing it disease properly and still trying to give treatment, so you are not doing fair justice to the patient, and you cannot eradicate a disease. Even if you do so, it will be by chance, by luck, a few times. It may not happen every time. But a physician who understands the story of the disease and the story of the deceased will be able to reach to proper conclusions and give the treatment. Otherwise, people also have a myth or a wrong understanding that Ayurveda does not have complications. Ayurveda doesn't have complications. Why not? We can generate a lot of complications. Chikitsa Chatushpada. So we have 4 limbs of treatment. A physician, that is a health provider, health seeker, that is the patient, the medicines and diet which comes in the Aushadhi, and finally the Paricharaka or the family and friends at home or the nursing staff at the hospital. Any of the limb doing wrong, one error there, so might miss the sweetness of the results, the phala of the treatment. So everything should be synced. This teamwork should be there. Physician is not everything. It is a teamwork. The physician gives very good instructions. If the person doesn't follow, what might happen may lead to the complication. Very simple. So instructions like while giving vasti, the enema therapies, astapana vasti or the kashaya, the decoction enemas, there the person is instructed to take the enema on an empty stomach. And in Anvasana Vasti, where the lipids or the medicated oil or ghee is used, there the person has to take food and take the enema. If these two things are done in erroneous way, like the swap, the instructions, the person will definitely lead to land up with complication. There is Dhumapana, that is medicated smoking, indicated to be done after Vamana, after an emesis therapy. If it is not done, the remnants of kapha, even after Vamana, can cause trouble. So like this, we have so many instructions which need to be followed. The diagnosis and all those things are very, very important before planning a line of treatment. So this comprehensiveness comes when we talk to the patient and reach to a diagnosis. So the first thing is talk, understand, diagnose, treat, and follow. Very importantly, all these things should go in a chronological way. Here, since we are speaking about Charaka and these things, I want to remember one discussion which I had with one of my close friends, Dr. Abdul Karim sir, yesterday on phone. While speaking about, because he was teaching Charaka Samhita, so in the college. So when I have certain doubts about certain references and anything, quick reference or something, I give him a call. So yesterday, while speaking about the complications which are mentioned in terms of Vamana Virechana and especially in Sthana in relation to enemas, he said, see, these are not just theory, these are not just what visual experiences. There is a chance that Charaka and students, his students or the entire Acharya Sampradaya, they have not only given these therapies to the patients, but they have also taken all by themselves. There is a possibility that Acharya Charaka himself has taken Vasti, and at some point, the Acharya Charaka might have faced, or one of his students might have faced these complications. How does Charaka know that these are the complications of a Vasti which has been given in an erroneous way, in a wrong way? How does Charaka know? Who has told him? That should come out of the practical experience. No, Charaka should have either experienced the treatment or visualized the treatment many times before documentation. Before documentation, many times the Acharyas have seen wrong things. That means to tell that nobody is perfect. Acharya Charaka was not perfect. Sushruta was not perfect. Why did they write about complications and the remedies for complications? Because they did wrong things. It is human to make errors. They too did mistakes. After doing mistakes, they found the remedies for that. And they have documented that. That is helping us today in the clinical practice. That's all. So not to make those mistakes again, we need to know the logics and the principles of diagnosis and treatment very, very accurately. I found it very interesting discussion that yesterday with Dr. Abdul Karim sir. So when he said, why can't we think that the Acharyas themselves have experienced, or their students themselves, or the patients whom they were seeing, they were experiencing those symptoms, they have visualized those things. They thought our future generations should not suffer from these symptoms. So what to do? I have given Vamana, so the emesis, but the person is undergoing purgation. So that is not supposed to happen. When we are giving emesis therapy, the Vamana should happen, but when you give that medicine, the Virechana is happening on the other side, or nothing is happening. So nothing is happening is Ayoga. More vomiting is happening is Atiyoga. And when you give emesis and when you have the patient is suffering from purgation, that is still horrible. It goes to Nitya Yoga. And once you do that, what to do? You have created a complication. Who tells there is no complication? Every therapy, every medicine might have a complication if given in a wrong way, wrong methodology, and wrong understanding. If you get success even with that, again, Edrucha, by chance, as Dr. Hebar rightly pointed out that particular term. So we should be very cautious in the Chikitsa Chatuspada is the key, understanding the disease is the key, and then planning the treatment is the key. That chronology has to be there. We cannot do trial and error methods. And Ayurveda also has remedies. If I cannot diagnose, if I cannot understand a disease, then Upashaya and Upashaya method is there. I will give something of a softer texture, the medicine or therapy to a patient, and wait and watch what happens. If there is no result, I have plan B. If there is some aggressive result, I have plan B. So when I am not able to diagnose the disease properly, but I am very close to the diagnosis, I give something palliative so that to see the doshas or something is under control. If it clicks, I'll follow it the second time. If that also clicks, I'll follow it for the third time. Then that becomes a theory. When I do this in this particular condition, I'll get results. But when it fails, you will start thinking. When the 10th time it fails, okay, this also can happen. So then we will start exploring about the remedies for such conditions. To not do the error on the clinical table with the patient, because we are dealing a life, we are not playing with the life, we don't have authority to play with the life. So proper diagnosis is the key always for the treatment. So for the proper and comprehensive treatment to be given. So that is what is the deeper meaning of that particular shloka we need to understand. Thank you, Dr. Gai.
Thank you there, sir. Abdul Karim, sir, please.
I want to be say that Charaka Samhita is not only a medicinal book; it's a scientific book actually. As we say that it's a completely a scientific book. As I am going to teach Charaka as well as in a research, I was going to be see that each and everything it has been done and written scientifically after doing practically. As Raghuram said, just said regarding this Sthana. And in the group also be one of the member has been posted regarding Rutucharya, Dinacharya and all, who are going to explaining that it has been founded diet, regimen, everything. How scientifically they have been written, how they have been studied. And regarding the clinicals, now discussion is going on. On that basis, one quotation is there, but exact shloka I don't know. The meaning of shloka is saying that a physician who fails to enter the body of a physician with the lamp of knowledge and understanding can never treat disease. He should first study all the factors, including environment, which influence a patient's disease, and then prescribe treatment. It's more important to prevent the occurrence of disease than the seek a cure. This is one quotation beautifully has been told by Acharya Charaka here. Exactly, I'm not remembering the shloka, that one, and the reference. And as come to the authors regarding the book, as said that the entire book is contents of 120 chapters, and it is clearly mentioned in that 12,000 shlokas also there in this chapter. And regarding Charaka Samhita, the one word, the wandering, we will in as a proverb is telling that charati iti charaka, as like a wheel, how it moves from place to place. The meaning of Charaka is says that is as in a wandering. It is mentioned in even Google also. They are giving regarding the Charaka like that. Regarding that, sir. And come to the Charaka's book and his lifestyle. Means just I want to tell about Charaka's history here. As Charaka belongs to 4th century BC, and some of the references are staying, telling regarding in Buddhist books and all by saying that he belongs to a Kashmir place, and he's as an he's a royal physician of Kanishka, King Kanishka in Kushan Empire in I think so in Kashmir it is there. So regarding Charaka, and come to the his book, entire book is a scientific book. Along with that, he given the examples, and one beautiful word has been told. Dr. Gururaja sir also be make remember that whatever written in this book, it is available in the all the other books, and then whatever it is not written in this book, that is we won't get anywhere. For this answer, Raghuram sir's one question is there when he started that all the references for the medications, why it is not taking from the Charaka Samhita. We are going to writing all the other books only. As this is the answer for that, I think so. Because everything it is whatever the people's the references are taking from the other books, it's taken from Charaka Samhita itself only. So Charaka is there always within all the books and the references they have maybe just is my wording. So I am to be say here. And regarding the Charaka Samhita, regarding the line of treatment, as I said that quotation. In that quotation, I said that first we have to understand the body of a person, influences, everything. If you read the Charaka Samhita from the Sutra Sthana to Siddhi Sthana, it indicating the same each and every steps. It starts with the Sutra Sthana, the basics of all the parts he is going to be explaining in the form of Chatushkas. Sapta Chatushkas has been made, and one chapter means around 30 chapters are divided into four chapters. Chatushkas. Each Chatushka is related with the next Chatushka. Without first Chatushka, we can't able to understand the second Chatushka. Like that, the entire beginning of the human's life till the end of the treatment and disease and curative, everything, the basic concepts regarding even Panchakarma, even medications, ganas, Each and everything has been explained in Sutra Sthana. Next Sthana is going to be mentioned about the Nidana. So after the understanding that one, we should be able to understand the causative factors. Nidana Sthana, major 8 diseases has been explained by Charaka. That is importance has been given. The first 8 diseases, how it has been started. Then next come to the Vimanasthana. It's a completely a logical section where he is telling about the how research has been going to be expand, even including Punarjanma. Everything has been covered. If you understand that sector, we can able to go further for the understanding the Charaka Samhitas. Next, he will tell about the Sharirasthana, complete anatomy and physiology he has explained. After that, he comes to Indriyasthana specifically. See here, if the patient is coming, who is bringing, what is the surroundings, what is the time of coming, what may be the influences on them, that you have to be checked as an Indriyasthana explaining that regarding that one. After that one only Indriyasthana as a fifth, next it is a Chikitsasthana. After understanding all these five sthanas, then only we have to study about the Chikitsasthana. After the Chikitsasthana specifications, he mentioned about the Kalpasthana, where the formulations how to be used, how to be prepared, how to be used as in a research. Because Kalpasthana saying about 600 Vamaka and Virechaka yogas, MSCs and purgatives. And he says that these are all the 600 examples for us where we can able to be make, follow, and according to the wish of a patient, wish of a Vaidya, he can able to prepare and consume. Along with that, the pharmaceutical science completely explained in this chapter itself only, how to make the formulation. Because Ayurveda, so many people will ask us generally regarding the your formulations are having any multi-dimensional formulations always. In modern, we will see only one, two, three, and how you can able to justify. Regarding that also, we can able to get the references from the Kalpasthana here. After the Kalpasthana, the last is Siddhisthana, as already it has been dealt by Raghuram sir has been explained how the side effects, VAPAs, what we have been explained regarding that, and regarding the book literature, and regarding the conferences conducted in that chapter, they have been clearly explained. This is about a brief introduction I want to give regarding the Charaka Samhita on the occasion of Jayanti. Thank you for giving me an opportunity.
Thank you, Abdul Karim sir. And the discussion and the price for Charaka is endless. And his this one, I remember an instance. Probably there's a very good event to sum this class up and then move on. That I just have forgotten the context of it all. Who's who of it. And probably this was told to us by Dr. Ashok sir while taking the class on history in our first year BMS, that a BMS doctor was conversing with an MBBS doctor, and we always get asked by the MBBS doctor, like, how your Ayurveda medicines act, like in the for the most of the allopathic medicines there is pharmacology, and this goes and this gets absorbed in particular area of the in the particular area of digestive system, and it goes to liver or it goes to particular organs, so it gets converted into chemical A, gets converted into chemical B, which is the active form, and so on and so forth is well established. But how Ayurveda medicine act, for that he tried this BMS doctor tried to explain that we also have this rasaguna virya vipaka concept, by the taste. They not only mean the taste, it also explains a bit of a pharmacology. For example, the sweet taste balances vata dosha and promotes kapha dosha, and it also balances pitta, and so on and so forth. Then the MBBS doctor got much more interest in the science, and he demanded a textbook in which he can find more. And that BMS doctor gave this MBBS physician the Charaka Samhita very hesitantly, because the concepts we sometimes we Ayurveda doctors ourselves are little underconfident to explain our own shastras even to the world. So he went back and read a few chapters, 2 or 3 chapters in a week, and he came back, and that MBBS doctor exclaimed that thousands of years before, without much technology, etc., they have written this Charaka Samhita with such an elaborate and scientific manner. Probably it is one of the gifts of the mankind that Acharya Charaka has given to all of us. So this was the exclamatory sentences that doctor told. And so I see that many non-Ayurveda people also are interested in Ayurveda. So they study this home remedies book or they watch a lot of home remedies. Nowadays, lot of these herbal gurus have come that use this medicine and get rid of diabetes, or use that medicine and get rid of cancer. So much of misinformation are there in the world. So rather than going behind those gurus and all, take your time, learn Ayurveda from the basics, read Ashtanga Hridaya or read even Charaka Samhita. Probably you should read Charaka Samhita because we are in the corner of Charaka Jayanti. So buy Charaka Samhita and start reading it. You may not understand fully, then go to go to different websites, go to easyazar.com and explore more, or ask us questions coming to these sessions and all. Then you start learning step by step. And as with any philosophical or spiritual books of Hinduism, even Charasamhita is also similar in way that more you read, more you understand, more different angles you can explore, and more ways you can understand. So with that, let's end this session here. I thank all the participants for patient listening. Thank you all. Namaste.